If you close your eyes at night and feel that cold shiver running down your spine, if the simple idea of the end makes your heart race in desperate rhythm, Gurdjieff would say something that could change everything: you are not afraid of death. You are afraid of never having truly lived. The panic you feel is not about what will come next. It is about what is happening now, in this very moment, while you exist as a ghost within your own life. For decades, you may have carried this fear as an invisible weight, a constant whisper in the corners of your mind. Perhaps you avoided thinking about it, distracted yourself with the noise of the world, immersed in work, screens, anything to keep that terror at bay. But Gurdjieff discovered something extraordinary: this fear is not your enemy. It is the door you never knew you were looking for. The key to a truly awakened life. In the next few minutes, you will delve into the tunnel everyone avoids looking at. You will discover why the fear of death is actually an urgent call from the soul, how to transform this terror into fuel for awakening, and what is the ancient formula Gurdjieff brought from the Caucasus Mountains, Tibetan monasteries, and Sufi deserts. A formula that not only removes fear but turns death into your greatest teacher. Prepare yourself. Because what you are about to discover may tear the veil separating you from real life. Gurdjieff observed something disturbing about modern humanity. We live like sleepwalkers, drifting through our lives in a state of deep hypnosis. He called this waking sleep, a condition where you move, work, talk, but are not truly present. You are on autopilot, responding to invisible programs, repeating patterns you don't even realize. And in this state of unconsciousness, death is terrifying because you never truly inhabited your body, never truly felt your existence. Imagine living 70, 80 years and never having truly tasted the water, never truly felt the air entering your lungs, never having looked into someone's eyes and been completely there. Gurdjieff said that most people die without ever having truly been born. They exist, they function, but they never awaken to full consciousness. And that is why death terrifies. It's not the end that scares them. It is the sudden realization that perhaps they never truly began. But there is a radical twist here. Gurdjieff discovered that the fear of death, when confronted directly, can become the most powerful tool for awakening. He called this the memory of death, not as a morbid thought, but as a technique of absolute presence. When you remember you will die, when you feel it viscerally, not as a concept but as an imminent reality, something extraordinary happens: you wake up. He taught his students to practice what he called self-remembering in the presence of death. The practice is simple, but devastatingly powerful. Stop now. Feel your body. Don't think about it, feel it. The weight in your bones, the pulse of your blood, the breath flowing in and out. Now bring this truth: one day, this body will stop. This heart will silence. This breath will cease. Do not run from this thought. Dive into it. What happens when you truly do this? Superficial worries evaporate. The anxiety about what someone thought of you, the stress about unanswered emails, the anger over some imagined offense, all of this dissolves like fog in the sun. Suddenly, you are here. Completely here. This moment becomes precious, sacred, because you realize, it is finite. It is all you have. And in this painful and beautiful perception, you finally wake up. Gurdjieff identified 3 tunnels we must cross before physical death, 3 psychological deaths that transform fear into wisdom. The first tunnel, the death of the false self. You carry a mask, a persona built to please, to survive, to be accepted. This manufactured identity, made of others' opinions, social expectations, and childhood fears, needs to die. Gurdjieff called this the personality, distinct from the essence, your true being. When you let this false identity die, when you allow it to break down, there is terror. It is like a small death. You feel like you are disappearing. But what is truly happening is the opposite: you are being born. For the first time, the essence can breathe, it can emerge without the layers of protection that were suffocating it. This is the first great fear across, to let who you think you are die to discover who you truly are. The second tunnel, the death of illusions. Gurdjieff was uncompromising about this. Most people live in a web of fantasies about themselves, about the world, about the future. You tell yourself you have infinite time, that you will do what matters most later, that you can postpone meaning until tomorrow. These illusions are comfortable, but deadly. They keep you asleep, putting off real life for a future that never arrives. When these illusions die, when you see with brutal clarity that there is no guaranteed time, that every moment could be the last, something inside you catches fire. You stop procrastinating love. You stop postponing dreams. You stop wasting energy on insignificant dramas. Gurdjieff called this intentional shock, using the awareness of death to break the hypnosis of tomorrow. Live now or never live. There is no middle ground. The third tunnel, the death of the fear of death. This is the final paradox. When you cross the first two tunnels, when you let the false self and the illusions die, something strange happens. Death itself loses the power to terrify you. Not because you have become indifferent to life, but because you have finally started living it. You realize that the fear of death was always guarding the fear of never having lived. Gurdjieff taught a specific practice he called conscious preparation for death. It is not about passive acceptance or resignation. It is about using the inevitability of death as a lens to see what truly matters. He instructed, every night before sleeping, lie down and imagine that you are dying. Not dramatically, but with clinical precision. Feel the body becoming heavy, consciousness dissolving, everything fading to black. And then ask the most important question, if this were my last day, would I have lived according to my essence? Did I give love where there was love to give? Did I create what I came to create? Was I truthful? The answers that come are not comfortable. They reveal all the ways you are betraying yourself, all the concessions you made, all the silences when you should have spoken. But these revelations are not punishment. They are guidance. Every morning, when you wake up after this practice, something changes. You do not wake up to just another ordinary day. You wake up as if you have received an unexpected gift, an extra bonus of existence. This day is not an obligation. It is a miracle. And in this state of consciousness, you begin to live differently. Every conversation becomes truer. Every choice more aligned. Every moment more alive. Gurdjieff often told an ancient story, a parable he heard in the monasteries. There was a man who was afraid to cross a dark tunnel in the mountain. He avoided that path for years, taking long alternative journeys. One day, forced by circumstances, he had to enter the tunnel. Trembling with fear, he lit a small candle. And then he saw something extraordinary. The walls of the tunnel were covered in precious gems, in crystals that sparkled with the light of the candle. What he had feared for so long was actually a hidden treasure. The tunnel of death is like that. When you stop running away, when you light the lamp of consciousness and look directly at it, you discover that inside the greatest fear lies the greatest treasure, the capacity to be fully alive. Gurdjieff realized that the people who fear death the most are the ones who live the least. And those who make peace with death are the ones who live with fierce intensity, with total presence, with fearless courage. But there is an even deeper level to Gurdjieff's teaching. He spoke about something he called the astral body or essential body, a continuity of consciousness that can survive physical death. But here is the twist, this body is not formed automatically. It must be built through conscious work during life. It is like a muscle that only develops when used. Gurdjieff taught that most people have nothing that can survive death because they never developed real consciousness. They live mechanically, reacting, sleeping. But those who practice awakening, who cultivate presence, who work on themselves, begin to form something permanent, something that does not dissolve when the body ceases. This is the secret alchemy, transforming temporary consciousness into something eternal. It is not about faith or belief. It is about practice. Every time you remember yourself, every time you bring awareness to an automatic moment, every time you choose presence instead of reaction, you are weaving this subtle body. It is invisible work, but Gurdjieff insisted, it is the only work that matters because it is the only thing you can take with you. Everything else, possessions, reputation, even memories, all that is left behind. But the consciousness you developed, that travels with you. And now we come to the final formula, the secret Gurdjieff brought from his journeys. It is too simple to be believed, too profound to be ignored. Live each day as if it were simultaneously your first and your last. Your first, with the curiosity and wonder of someone who has never seen this world before. Your last, with the urgency and truth of someone who has no more time for lies. When you look at the sky this way, it is not just blue. It is a miracle of light and depth. When you touch someone you love, it is not just a touch. It is the meeting of two temporary mysteries in this vast universe. When you do your work, it is not just a task. It is your unique signature on eternity. Every act becomes sacred because it might be the last. Every moment becomes new because you are finally awake to see it. The tunnel of death is not something you cross at the end. It is something you cross now, today, in this very instant. And on the other side is not the void you feared. It is the life you always deserved, fiery, true, completely alive. Gurdjieff whispers through time, do not wait for death to awaken. Use it now. Let it burn away all falsehoods. And then live. Live as if every breath were golden. Because it is.